every question, like, you have a master's degree. So when you say yes, they may ask you to upload that master's. So if you say no, if that is included master's degree as a qualification, then you are out of the master. So at the end of that application process, when they are closing the application period, you have to make the whole CV that an ATS system has given you. So it sorts and filters, I would say, unwanted CV, and only take those that are possible. So this is an automated system. So, and this, I think we can say good one. Most organizations are adopting because it's assist in eliminating human error. Or because I know ABCD, or I know Daniel, I know as a parent, then I need to shortlist this. But this is just look at the job specification and the specification of the Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our panelists, Chisomo Mazangwira. And the same question that I have for you, for all of you, for waiting, for Innocent, but also maybe to someone you can answer. What are HR recruiters looking for in a candidate? Is it about experience, achievement, or something else? What are they looking for?
All right, thank you. Hi guys, I lost my voice, so I'll just speak as much as I can. I had a flu, so sorry. So the question is, what are the HR personnel looking for when they look at the CV or anything else? The key word that I'll say is the HR personnel, they're looking for value. So when they look at the CV, as Chisomo said, they're looking to say, what will this person bring to us the moment we bring them into our organization? So what I'm saying is, what you have to make sure is you should present value to the HR personnel. So how can you do this? The first thing that you have to do is make sure you present your CV in a proper manner that it will show the value that you have. One thing that I've noted is sometimes our CVs don't go a long way. It's only because of how we have presented ourselves. So an HR person like Chisomo can look at a CV. When they look at it, they're like, this CV doesn't look as if the person is serious about themselves. So that shows value. The second thing that they are looking for is it depends on the position. Sometimes some other jobs are mainly specific on education and others are mainly specific on the job experience. So you have to see, to say, okay, maybe this job, the key thing that they're looking for is experience. And you have to make sure that the experience is on the first page. Because as we said in the first question that someone was answering, HR personnel only have like a few seconds to look at the CV. So you have to make sure that you impress them the moment they get on the first page. And then you can put in your education and your experience. And when you are putting your experience, make sure that you also put a line that shows your achievements or your accomplishments or your results, because those are the key things that the HR personnel are looking for. I'll stop there for a moment. I'll let Innocent take it. Thank you.
And bottom line, what recruiters are looking for is talent. So that's one of the things that we have to get experience in that aspect. But with frequency, are using great candidates for that kind of role that you are applying for. So it's very important when you are applying for a job or some course, a job application, a job opportunity, you have to analyze your IP. And I think my colleague here mentioned about human. So you have to make sure that you are able to meet, first of all, the minimum requirement. So if you consider a future as at the top, very wide, meaning that there are so many, there are hundreds or thousands, millions of applicants that are looking for the same job. But so what the recruiters are looking for is to become you have to think that you train. And then from there you have to go into the competence, and experience. You have that. They want to see that. They want to make sure that you actually rent the job, but you also understand the job. So basically looking for customer, customer practices, like, for example, review, collaborating, participating, team conducting, all those things. These are some of the things that so you have the confidence and the experience. And it doesn't end there. You have to demonstrate that you actually have done that aspect. Because that is in your participated. So what have you participated in that relates to the job aspect? All right. So make sure that that's the point where you outside marketing yourself versus what the job requires. And then the last part where most people say, but so there's another part where you have to look at. What to say or what to say align it to their job. How you participate, where you demonstrate that. Now we go to the point that we're information about because everybody has to take a training, but the training that you provide, what is your heart, what did you put in the job that you are applying for? Can you give evidence? So they're looking for evidence. That's what separates you from everybody else. And really use your personal experiences. That's what they're looking for. They want to see if you have, actually done this thing for how long. And if the topics that you are doing, for example, training, the training that you're conducting, are they aligning to their work? So the person is saying, if you haven't done that kind of experience, then they are looking for transferable skills. These are skills that you don't learn at school. You don't learn, online. These are things that you learn. They are not skills. Now come to the value of agency. If there was a time, if there was someone who didn't know, how do you resolve about it? That's why another interview or another application, they ask you for scenario. They give you a scenario, tell us about it, demonstrate, all of that. Just to show that you feel the finger in the training. If you don't feel the finger, then you don't qualify. So yeah, let's make sure that we understand that we understand the high level, and then the middle, and the needs that they want. I don't know it's slow, but yeah, we'll keep on my way.
Thank you so much. Those are things that we are learning from them. And I guess for me, I have to also things that I'm learning as well. Are you learning, guys? Okay. I would like to ask you, would you like to have like a comfort break or just switch a little bit or should you continue the session? We should continue. Okay. So another question goes to Wezi and Chisomo. How does one without much experience make himself stand out on a CV and an application? How does one without much experience make themselves stand out on a CV and an application? And this one goes to Wezi, but also to Chisomo.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, so I'll take it first. So the first thing that I'll say is it can be either you're coming from school or maybe you've finished school, but then you haven't just been so like in getting jobs. I would say one of the things that they're looking for is extra skills. Now, how can you get extra skills if you haven't gotten any job before or something like that? As I said, sorry guys, my voice, I'm losing my voice, but I'll continue. So the thing is, when you finish school, make sure you enroll in online courses that teach courses like Excel, data entry, and things like those. So if you haven't done such courses and someone has done them and both of you have applied for a certain job, what the HR person will look at is, okay, who has more skills than the other person? So the idea is make sure you gain more skills. The other skills that you also have to gain, which we don't talk a lot about, is soft skills or people skills. So these are things like communication and things like those, negotiation skills. So you have to make sure that you get these skills, and you also have to make sure that you put them on your CV so that the HR person will be able to see them. So these are some of the things that you want to be able to do for you to be able to stand out. Also, make sure that you always modify your CV for each job application, because I think one of the mistakes that we make is we apply for 10 jobs with the same CV without changing anything. So that is not the way you should do things. So I'm not saying you should lie on your CV, but make sure that you match your CV to the job that you're applying for. That will also make you stand out, because they are looking for the keywords that you have to put that match the job that you're applying for. So just make sure that you do some of these things. Thank you.
In addition to that, for the area careers, my advice as a HR professional is that areas get to something, not money. I know money, who always need money, but if you are just entering your money, please, that is experience. But when you get experience, then you should now start saying, well, you are only 20,000 and what time you want to do because of the requirements. So, to start out, by ways of saying, get online courses. There is Alison.com, you find free courses there. For sale, you find free courses there. But now, in the CV or when you have been invited for interview, you have to emphasize transferable skills that you gained from internship. That's why I have a chance please apply for internship in organization. Whether paid or not, what you are looking for is skills. And if internship is not there, please go for volunteer in any organization. Your aim is to gain experience. So you have to emphasize this transferable skills from your education, background, your internship, even volunteer when you do that. So you need to showcase it and showcase all when you are applying for the job. So you want to showcase relevant skills or experience of them as well as skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Want to add?
Yeah. Just to add, just what they are saying, the key thing because you are trying to get a correct job, and you have to make sure that you do properly learn and understand what this is all about. So that we don't work with high money, and we don't work with high amount. Because if you understand the job, the job that I've done, and you have to talk, we take about the job, say, have I done these things? That's when you start understanding the okay, and the job. Understanding, down, talk, and go. When it comes to the fact of the field, these are the things that make people with no experience in terms of number of years or because of their daily. But of course, they have done this type of job, it's something that is transferable from basic someone who does banking, they do a lot of learning skills. So we use them on trade as a part that you can work in the government sector where you are going to use your communication or you're going to use networking or different skills too. So if you now evidence that you are done in the past, then how does it transfer to this type of job that you are looking for? So make sure we understand the job description, we do companies. Also understand who are the people that are motivated the profile of those or that are motivated similar kind of role. That's why you put up your network. We do have something in network.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate for your insight, how we can do better on our activities. And at this point in time, I'd like to ask Claudia. Claudia, can you get me?
Yes, if you can do me a quick favor, if the panelists can speak directly into I think the people in person can hear them, but for those in virtual, we can't really hear what they're saying. So if I think we're using Chisomo's Zoom. So if they can speak directly into Chisomo's Zoom, maybe let's try without the microphone and then just speak directly into Zoom, because the phones will have microphones. So let's try without the microphone for now. If we speak into Zoom directly, let's see how it goes.
Hi, Claudia.
Yes, we
Now
can hear you. So slido.com, and the code is shown on the screen. Or if you have a QR code scanner, please use the QR code scanner to scan that. It will take you directly into the quiz, into the test. Okay, give a few more seconds and then we'll start. So about, I say 5 seconds, and then we'll start the next one. Starting 25 seconds for this question. How would you describe your level of experience in CV writing? Don't forget to press send. Send when you finish, you selected your answer.
Claudia, speak is the mic. Claudia?
Yes.
Could you please speak in the microphone? They can get you. And you have to remove the cursor as well of the mouse.
Better? Is it better? Can people hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, they can.
Okay. All right, I'll just speak loudly. Thank you. Okay. All right, next question. Don't forget to press send. What do you struggle with the most when writing your CV? So select what is best for you. Press send when you've selected. Okay, so most people struggle with selling themselves or using the right words on their CV. Okay, next question. Have you ever been taught how to write or prepare a CV? Yes, no, or maybe. Don't forget to press send. Okay, so it looks like most people about half the room have been taught how to prepare a CV. That's good. Okay, next question. Don't forget to press send. Do you know what employers are looking for in a candidate? Yes, no, or somehow? Don't forget to press send. Okay, somehow. So it looks like we might have to do a follow-up session on CV writing. That's very insightful. Thank you. And the 3 more questions to go. Do you have any idea of the different entry-level jobs in your choice of career path? So if you're interested in medicine or in nursing, do you know how, the different entry levels or roles into nursing or medicine? Okay, so that's also somehow, so and so. All right. Next question, that will be the last but one question. If you were shortlisted for a role, do you know how to stand out ahead of other candidates? Yes or no? Okay, that's also half and half. And the last question, if you're just joining us online, please go onto slido.com and type in the code. Okay, last question. Have you taken the initiative to find out the pay range of your particular choice of career? So if it might not be, it's particularly not disclosed how the pay range, but have you asked about it? Okay, thank you. So sometimes, and I think the panelists will talk about this a little bit more at some point in today's session, how to find out, or the importance of finding out more about the pay of your role. So I'll leave that there for now. And this has been very helpful. It helps us to know what the next sessions should be. And also, I suppose it's also good for you as well, to also know where you stand in these areas. I'll leave that there because there's no leaderboard. It's not a competition, so I won't show the leaderboard. That's it from my side. Yes, so please take over on in person.
Thank you, Claudia. Sorry about that. Let's continue with our questions and answers. We'll continue that session with our panelists. And I'm sure you have learned something today about Slido and using the QR scanner code as well. So yeah, let's move on. This question goes to Wezi, Innocent, but also Chisomo. What characteristics do employers consider in retaining a new hire? What characteristics do recruiters or employers consider in retaining a new hire?
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at the back? All right. So the question is very clear to say they're looking for someone who's different. So I think to start with, I think a lot has already been said, but just a reminder to say they're looking for talent. They're looking for someone who fits into their culture, someone who can do the job,
someone who has done the job and can demonstrate that, because there's a difference between doing something and then actually showing to them that you can do it. A good example is they would want someone who maybe can hit the ground running immediately. So do you have those transferable skills that we talked about? Do you have communication skills that you can use, that you have used before? And then can you connect what you have done before and what they are looking for? Are you adaptable? Are you someone who can, adapt to a situation? Maybe it's stressful. Maybe it's an emergency situation. Maybe it requires you to have certain skills. Wezi mentioned about having to do some courses. Do you have those certifications? There are some organizations, especially the development sector, where they look for, certain certifications that you should have. Or do you have a language? They look for language sometimes. Can you speak, for example, French? So you can always look for yourself to say, okay, if you cannot match the need of the organization, of the job, and what you have done, then just let it go, because you're just going to waste your time. So a tool that I usually use, that I've learned over time, is where you put the organization in a table, one column, and in the other column you put yourself. So what is the organization looking for? Remember I talked about some of the action verbs that they're looking for: participate, collaborate, conduct, carry out, review, all those kind of things. So key also is to look at what is it that they're actually looking for, because they could be 10, maybe the ones that are looking for is 3. So you, like I mentioned again, to say, always do a research to say who has held this type of role, or who are holding these types of roles, what types of activities have they done before, all right? And have I done those types of activities as well? Can I demonstrate that I've done those? Then you go and do a hierarchy of those to say, I've done this, I've participated in budget reviews, liaising with, giving examples, tangible examples of the thing that they're looking for. Remember, you're not just putting yourself out there. You're competing with other people that are smart, that are also competent, that have experience, that have the attitudes, that have the skills. So how do you sell yourself matters. So pick the right action verbs. And then also one thing that I wanted to just share is, HP conducted a research where, they wanted to understand how many people were willing to apply for an promotion in their company. They found that women did not apply for jobs, or did not, apply for promotion when they felt like they did not qualify, or they did not meet 100%. While men on the other side, if they made 60%, they applied. So you can see women are being smart to say, I don't want to waste my time. Let me focus on my career. But sometimes men, they take unnecessary risks. So that is a disclaimer to say, be able to analyze yourself and research, like I mentioned, research the job, understand those things, and understand the job description, so that you speak to what their need is, all right? So, because they are looking for actual tangible stories. So if you have the stories, use them, even if you don't have experience. But if you have the stories that are in line with the job, you can get it. So over to you, Wezi.
All right, thank you, Innocent. So I'll add to what Innocent has said. So for HR to retain new hires, so for example, you've been employed, it's been a year or 6 months, these are some of the things that they're looking for. They're looking for someone who is flexible as well as adaptable. So in this, what they're looking for is to say, if our organization changes, or if we change our missions and visions and everything, will this person be able to fit into the organization? So how do they get this? In simple things like they can give you a certain job to say, oh, can you do A, B, C, D, which is not maybe in your field or in your department. They try to judge you to say how you respond to that. I know there are people that say, that's not in my job description, so I won't do that. That is a red flag. that you give to the HR or to whoever's given you the job. Because if they were to consider you for a manager position, they would say, this one, as a manager, would not be able to do some other jobs because the attitude shows they can't do some other things. So just make sure that you are flexible as well as adaptable. So I'm not saying you should just do jobs for other departments willy-nilly. No, you should still do jobs in your department, but be flexible enough in your as you work for them. The next skill, which I will implore everyone that they should be able to have, is communications. Now, we always write this on our CVs that we are good at communication, oral or written. But let me tell you, how you write an email or how you express yourself in a meeting says a lot about yourself, whether they should keep you as a new hire or they should continue with you. So just make sure you develop your skills in writing. Simple things like grammar, simple things like punctuation and everything. Those things, people observe things like those. So if you're not careful enough, your manager may be seeing things like those. Maybe just write an email with a U, meaning the proper U, before you put a B and a 4, things like those. People see. So they're able to say, this person cannot be able to be promoted. The other things that they also look for is team-oriented, whether you're able to work in a team and whether you're able to do your tasks within the team and be able to make sure that the team succeeds and that you're not only looking for personal glory. So make sure that you exhibit that in whatever you do. The other thing which Innocent said is you have to be technically competent. I think this Innocent said enough on this. The next thing that I would also say is eagerness to learn. So this one ties in with the one that I said on being flexible. You really have to show that you're eager to learn new things. How do you do this? By asking effective and right questions. One of the key questions that you can be able to ask your manager or whoever to say, what problem are we trying to solve in this? That question will somehow give you the context of whatever you're dealing with. For example, you're a new hire and then you ask that question, someone will take you through to say, oh, this is what happened last year and this is what you're trying to solve. So make sure you show eagerness to learn. And another thing is be ambitious. How you can show this is show yourself in the future within the organization. It's not like you're telling your manager that, oh, when I get your position, no. But you're simply showing them to say you have a regard for the future, working with them as an organization. In that sense, they'll be able to retain you. Thank you. I'll stop there before I lose my voice.
Okay. Thank you, Wezi and the Innocent. I think we are talking about a new hire. So when you are employed, you'll be put on probation. Now, probation is as good as courtship, in which partners test each other, see, do this man have the required values I'm looking for? Is this lady having the required values I'm looking for? When I get angry, will she be able to calm me down? So that's probation. During probation, there is an employer on the other side and you on the other side. So the employer, you presented in your CV, you are able to do ABCD, you are able to work under pressure. And you can work over the odd hours. Now, during probation, they measure that. In fact, in most organizations, when you've been employed, you will sign a performance agreement, which will be assessed monthly until the 3 months probation period ends. So during probation, employer now can decide whether to continue with you or you should go. Of course, there will be procedures like hearings before they fire you. But most of the time, they just give you 7 days notice that you have failed to perform during probation period. So what Innocent and Wezi have explained, what makes you remain, or what makes the employer retain you? And I think to summarize whatever my colleagues have said is about positive attitude. Positive attitude. Positive attitude towards the work you've been given, positive attitude towards your boss, positive attitude towards your colleagues. Then you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists. A round of applause to them, please. And I know you haven't spoken at all. If I were to ask you, what's the one word that you have learned so far in the Q&A? What would that be? Anybody? And for those online, you can put them on the chat as well. What are some of the things you're learning? Yes, Chiso.
Something about being adaptable, and I think it's crucial to take that into account to be willing to change.
Go ahead.
So Innocent had mentioned something on being adaptable and willing to change. I guess just reflecting on that, I tend to use the same CV for the longest time, but to learn from that every time read the vacancy, try to understand what the organization is looking for and what you meet. Try to compare that to yourself and see what you can offer and how you can beat a certain element. The aspect of men usually going, even if they have 60%, they're willing to go, just taking that risk to go for that job. But also there was something that the other Chisomo had mentioned on what a probation period is mostly like. And I think it's in that period that you also get to know yourself in that duty, but also what you have to offer. So just listening to that sets a precedent for me on getting to know what I have to offer, but also being able to identify how I would fit in longer into that organization and having that positive attitude towards the work itself. Yeah.
Anybody?
Right. Thank you for the opportunity. I would say, first of all, like he said, like men like to take risk. We like to take risk. So most of the times, maybe we go, let's say, for interviews when you know you are 60% qualified for that job. So what I've learned more is like you need to access, like what he said, he uses a table. He puts himself there and the organization there, and then he finds out what the organization is looking for. And then you assess your own value. Yeah, so I think that's something I've learned from the Q&As. Thank you.
Any lady?
I think if there's one thing that I've made a mistake on a lot of times is applying for every job as long as there's a qualification involved. I've never really been the person to assess whether this is looking for education or experience. So I think that's been an eye-opener for me. Yeah, and also analyzing myself, that these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. Because if I know my strengths, then obviously I'll focus more on working on my weaknesses, basically.
Thank you so much. We have a few more questions to go, but you can keep on drinking your water. If you're online, keep on drinking your coffee or whatever you're drinking, or maybe, relax a little bit. And so another question that I have for the panelists: what traits would enable someone to be picked out for a promotion? What traits would enable someone to be picked out for a promotion? Or maybe in other words, we can say, what do you consider in someone to promote them? What do you consider in someone to promote them? And so this question goes to all of you, Wezi, Chisomo, but also Innocent.
Okay, I'll take it first. Can you hear me? All right, so let's be honest, everyone wants to be promoted in their life, not only at work, but we all want to progress in life. And we are here talking about work. So it's really a great feeling, to be honest, but also it comes with responsibilities and a lot of accountability. So I'll just talk about a few things that you can do for you to be promoted. The first thing is your attitude. One thing that we should never run away from is people see our attitudes at work. It could be the messengers, it could be the cleaners, it would be whoever, that whenever your name is mentioned to say, oh, we want to promote Tedeo Chalusa, some people will be like, yes, go ahead. We know that person is okay. But if your attitude is not good, some other people will be like, him as a boss, you don't be good. You see, so the first thing that I'll say is your attitude. Make sure you maintain a positive attitude throughout. Now, I'm not saying you should just be a walkover. People should just do things to you and then, no, stand for yourself, but then be respectful or just show a good attitude. So what the managers or the leaders or whoever is looking to promote you are looking for, they're looking for the capabilities that you have to lead as well as to manage. So they see you and they're like, okay, if we promote this person, will he be able to lead his team, or will he be able to manage his team? So they're looking for things like those. So how do they gauge things like those? It's really in the simple things. For example, how you talk to your team or your team members before they promote you, for example, how you talk to them and how you do things like maybe keeping time and achieving your tasks. You're not just giving excuses. Those are the things that they're looking for. So they're looking for the capabilities for you to lead as well as to manage. They're also looking for someone who is inspired as well as motivated to do more work in the organization. So sometimes we cut short ourselves because of our own attitudes. We're like, you know what, I'm okay here. I don't want to grow or whatever. But then sometimes in conversations, it comes out to say, okay, this person wants to grow in their career as long as they're working here. So they're looking for someone who is well motivated as well as inspired. The next thing that you have to do is do more work than what you're paid for. So this is can be received with a little bit of skepticism, I know, but the idea is you have to do a lot more. I know as Malawi, we always say, and everything, but then our managers are able to see things like those. Because when you do a lot more work, what happens is it shapes you. You become a rounded person in your field as well as in other departments. You're able to understand to say, okay, I'm working in the finance department, but what does the procurement department do? Because maybe on a certain day, you ask for more work from the procurement function just for you to understand what they do. So you should be able to do a little more work and people notice. So these are the things that you do. Sometimes you feel like, oh, no one is noticing, but people do really notice. As well as asking for more work. Now, I'm not saying you should just be working throughout. No, it should always be balanced. So also be a low maintenance individual. What I mean, Chisomo, who works in HR, can be able to attest to say the HR personnel, they're able to gauge people and say, this person is a high maintenance, this one is a low maintenance. And how do you know that this one is high or low? It shows in their optimism, whether they're only coming to work and making complaints, things like those. So just make sure that you're more of a low maintenance employee. The last point that I'll say is being innovative as well as creative. Now, if you have been working for an organization and all you do is just take in whatever they're telling you, that's okay. But the idea is you somehow have to bring in some suggestions to say, you know what, I've been working in this position. I feel like this and this, we can be able to do it much better. Now, the idea is you should bring this in a formal way. You can write an email in which you're saying, okay, I'm suggesting we should maybe change system A and we should be doing system B. And these are the benefits. These are the drawbacks of this system that we implement, and these are the benefits that we get. So what will happen is, whether you send it to your manager or whoever you send it to, they have a track record to say, okay, Dedeo sent us ABCD as improvements in our department. Compared to you going to lunch and you say, oh, you know what? You talk over lunch table and say, but I think we should change ABCD. That doesn't go so far. So make sure you make suggestions on how you can be able to improve processes in your organization. You can bring in new tools to say, okay, there is this new tool. I think we can be able to use it to somehow speeding up our reporting systems and everything. So the more you make such suggestions, the more they see you as someone who is able to bring value in their organization, and they'll likely consider you for a position. Thank you.
Thank you, Wezi. You've mentioned a lot of things, and indeed, those are the factors that employers look for when they want to promote an individual. Now, it's very important to note that when you are being promoted, it means you are taking a leadership position. And let's say you were an officer, now they're making you a supervisor or a first line manager. That means you'll be supervising people. It will not only be supervising work. Because if you are working, there are others, you agree with me that there are some managers and supervisors that supervise work and not people. So when you are being promoted here, what matters most is, or we can say, our soft skills, like leadership, effective communication, as Wezi as I explained, collaboration. Of course, job performance has to be there. You have to be to be a master of the line of the responsibility you have. I like going through LinkedIn, or you may Google, say, what are the 10 most skills that employers are looking for, and you get them for 2023 and 2024. They are also there. They are 10. So if you don't have those skills, then you should forget about promotion, because to be promoted, you have to be supervising people and the work. Two, it's sad to see that people can work in an organization for 10 years, 15 years without being promoted. Then what are you doing in that organization? It means they don't see any value that you are adding. So if you go into an organization, please master what Wezi has said. Then you'll be promoted even within a year or two. In fact, when it comes to promotion, qualification comes last. It's not about the type of degree you have, credit, distinction, upper second class. No, it's how you handle people and how you handle work, and not the paper you have. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add on what they have already said, I think I was listening as well. I was also learning, taking notes. So they have talked about the value, which is what everyone is looking for. So among the values, and then they have mentioned about the soft skills. Maybe I just have to ask a question here so that we assess ourselves. When we are trying to get a job, what do we focus on? Do we focus on the hard skills, or do we focus on the soft skills? Anybody? Just a simple poll, whether online, hard skills, which ones do you focus more? Hard skills or soft skills? So hard skills, the things that you learn in school, like your degrees, the trainings and all that. But the soft skills are the ones that we're talking about: communication, adaptability, creativity, innovation, those kind of things. So my point was just to say, they already know about your hard skills. So as the HR personnel specialist was talking about, they're looking for those things that are unique about you, like teamwork. Wezi mentioned about teamwork. Teamwork is very key soft skill. And then also I jotted some of the things like well-being. So there in other interviews where they ask you, how do you take care of yourself? It might seem like something that's not important, but it's very important, because they want to see, are you a person who can bring a culture where people also value well-being and that you can perform? Because some people feel like overworking is good, but working smart is what we're talking about. That's why the soft skills are important. And then also an issue that I wanted to talk about is be agile. I think the bottom line is be agile, agility. In sport, they say so-and-so has skill, or in music, so-and-so has talent, but they cannot go too far. Why? They're not agile. They're just comfortable where they are. They're not willing to do the hard work. As Chisomo mentioned, you're not willing to change your CV to adapt to the job that you're applying for. You're not willing to do a simple course on communication. Those small things, but they matter. And then I talked about the well-being, and then the issue of career development. He mentioned about being in a job 10 years, but within those 10 years, you have never even done a single course on what you do, and then you're applying for promotion against people that, have done 10 of those, and they're using them, and they're able to demonstrate that, I did this packaging or procurement certificate, and I've been using it even though I'm a team leader, something like that. they see those values. And then the other thing is about, I talked about networking earlier. So how have you networked? Can you add value to the organization? In the absence of your boss, can you step up to do certain things? Where's the mention about do more? So it's just being smart, not like adding more work to yourself, but just be smart. How can you ask for more work in a smart way, not like that is gonna burn you out, going back to well-being. And then the last thing that is very important is impact, all right? You have all these qualities, you have all these skills, you have all this experience that you have done, but what is the impact? They want to know, I'll use a sport again, because I love sport. You know, the people love people who can score goals, people who can defend. You know, that's why when we're talking about the Ballon d'Or, who do they pick? They pick people who have scored goals, who have had an impact, many assists. So look at those stats. In this job, what are the key stats? Is it assisting? Is it supporting? Is it collaboration? So going back to the soft skills that you have, so that you demonstrate to say, I have done this job. Like I work in an organization where we work with girls. We are promoting girls' education. So my job is really to help other people to do their job well, so that they can lead to the results. So I get to be on the end of it, but you may not see what I do on the other side. So you have to demonstrate your impact with what you do. If you're a graphical person, can you demonstrate that your graphics have had added value? We were talking with Fanny. She does some of the support to the No Ordinary Life. You can see the value in the t-shirt, the wonderful t-shirts. You can see the value in so those kind of things that she can talk about in an interview. So you should have, you should be able to connect yourself to the impact, the end result of whatever you do, and be honest. This is one thing that I wanted to catch on, because wisdom comes from there. Be honest, don't lie, because if you lie, they'll catch up. You are on a probation, you said you work under pressure, but every day before 5 o'clock or at the dot, you're gone. You're always giving excuses. You're not being honest. You lied, and then it catches up on you. So avoid lies, be honest, be real, be true to yourself. Your job is your job, right? So you're competing with yourself, not anybody else. So thank you.
A round of applause, guys. They've done well, right? Are you happy you're here? The fact that you're here, it means you're not an ordinary person, okay? So let's learn together. But before we go further, it's almost like 10:46. We need to break a little bit. Let's go just have a break. And as you're having a break, we have some snacks at the back. We also have some t-shirts that we are selling at 16,000 kwacha. Some of them are written No Ordinary Guy, others like No Ordinary Girl. You can support the organization No Ordinary Life as well. And network, learn to know the other person, learn to know them as well, the panelists that we have. And so you can network a little bit in the 15 minutes that we have, but maybe more after when we are done, okay? So enjoy your break for 15 minutes. We're going to be back. Thank you. To our panelists, thank you so much for holding on for this while. But would also kindly ask you rather, to just keep it short for the next set of questions, maybe at least 2 minutes if you can, so that we can finish in good time as well. Claudia, can you get us?
Yeah, got you.
Okay. All right, so the next question that we have is about what traits would you enable someone to be picked out of, I think we did that for promotion, but let's talk about what advice would you give to prospective candidates in their job search? What advice would you give them? And this question is going to all of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Fanny. So I think we have already talked a lot. So the key advice is the same. Be yourself and know yourself, know who you are, know your value, and be able to sell that value. I think that's the most important thing. If you see, you have to be able to go on the market and sell those mandasi. So, you know, do research, understand your job market, and again, just be flexible, as Wezi mentioned, so that you can fit in. Especially for entrepreneurs, you have to, you don't just to stick to one job that you, one business that you can do, but be adaptable to change according to the situation, according to the system, so that you make, you know, an impact on the people's lives, and always focus on the people, not yourself. So that's the key advice.
Okay, so in addition to what Innocent has said, the first one is to tailor your CV or resume to each job application, as Wes mentioned earlier on. Number two, you have to research the company culture where the vacancy has been advertised. And number three, practice for interviews. You cannot do well during interviews if you have not practiced. So practice, whether you give the questions or formulate the questions yourself, or you Google questions on internet or ChatGPT, give them to your siblings. They should be asking you questions. That will assist you to build confidence. And very important, network. Network, not just networking on Ipempero Pande's page on Facebook. No, LinkedIn. There is also Indeed. Search for professional networks and network with HR, so that when they post an advert, you should be able to see that there is a vacancy somewhere. Thank you.
All right, I'll just finish off. I'll add to what Innocent and Chisomo have said. This one, I'm just simply talking about the attitude that you should have as you look for a job. The first one is be okay with being rejected. The job search is not easy, and you get a lot of rejections. You can apply for 20 jobs and all of them, they don't even respond. So just be okay with it and continue looking for jobs. The second one is avoid comparison. I know when we finish school, most of the times we are there comparing ourselves with other people. So just make sure that you avoid comparing yourself with other people. Everyone has their own path. The other one is be ready to pivot. Sometimes you may have to change what you did in school and what you have to do in work. So if there's an option for you to pivot, take it up and be able to take a new job, and you learn as you go. And then finally, I'll say this, it's not always about connections. I know in Malawi, most of the times we always say, for you to get a job, you have to be, you need to be connected to someone in the organization. I was talking to someone who just said the same yesterday. So sometimes because of that mentality, you don't apply for jobs because you always think, oh, this one, they already know who they'll take. So just understand that it's not always about connections, but you should try your luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our panelists. And so the other set of questions are the questions that you ask us on the registration form as well. What exactly do recruiters need for a fresh graduate? And this is for any one of you.
Okay, so for fresh graduates, definitely the first one is relevant skills. You may ask me, where do we get the relevant skills? You get these. There can be technical skills, as Innocent, I think, mentioned earlier on. This is what you learn in class, or technical skills that you may get through internship and even through attachment. Number two is flexibility. If you are able to demonstrate flexibility, then you are up for the job. Communication skills, we have mentioned that several times. And be able to come up with initiatives, not doing the job as usual. Just because we're told this is how we do it here, then you just practice it. No, come up with an initiative. What if we can change the way we report for work here? What if we can say 2 days in a week we work from home, 2 days in a week we come here at the office, and Friday we knock off at such a time, provided we are starting earlier. Come up with initiatives. And if you are able to show professionalism in both communication and appearance during interviews, of course, these days I know there's nothing we can do about clothing. Times have changed. After all, clothes or a suit will not be working. But we as recruiters, during interviews, please be presentable. When you start working, of course, if your job requires you to put on a uniform, you'll be given a uniform. So please, during interviews, be presentable. CVs, be presentable within the way you present your CV. Give someone to review it. Then you are good to be employed. Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to add, but not to add, but I think he has already said it all. So yeah, just to encourage you to say, take up the challenge, do the hard work, do the adjustments, make sure that you are learning. I think key is learning and unlearning, because sometimes you need to change careers, sometimes you need to start a new career or something that you're not passionate about. I think we were chatting with one of the guys here that he applied to Luana, but they had to, I don't know what your name is. Yeah, but they had to, the system in Malawi where you apply for something different and then they look at your qualifications and then they give you something. Are you willing to change? Are you willing to unlearn what your passion was and then or adapt your passion to what you have been given? So just be open. And yeah, I think as I said, a lot is about research. So that's where you learn. Read a lot of books if you are good at it. Do some, try and fail quickly. Be an entrepreneur, not only looking for a job, but also find ways in which you can also create jobs. Some of us are gifted in that way. So how can you create jobs? Find out. You may end up, creating your own role that you're applying for. So why go for an interview when you can do it? Over to you, Wezi.
No, it's okay. I've already said it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our panelists. And maybe before I go to the next question, in our audience, you might have like a question that you feel like, I can go home without asking this question or maybe these questions. And I would maybe just encourage you to find that question. And once I ask the second question, then later we can talk about the questions you have. But also online, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat so that our panelists can be able to help us. Thank you. So now let's talk about how best can the youth fight unemployment in Malawi? This is for each one of you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we already talked about it. We talked about learning. We talked about networking. So I'm just gonna focus on these two things. Networking. Can we create, like ourselves here? We have met today. Some of us, it's the first time. Are we willing to make these relationships last? Or it's just gonna be, we met, it's over. You never know. You're next to the CEO, your next boss. You don't know. Who knows? Maybe you can be my next boss. Who knows? So let's network. Let's make sure that we are willing to open up ourselves to those challenges. But also, let's make sure that, I think the other thing that I mentioned was about, collaborating. Sometimes I can have an idea, but there's a lot of fear today to say if I share my idea, he's gonna run with it. But one thing I've learned is that your uniqueness will always remain with you. Even if I share with Chisomo my idea today, he can run with it so far. But if we collaborate and say, okay, what are your skills? What are my skills? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? we're going to make it. That's why myself, I'm here, because my personal mission is, to transform the world by transforming those who can transform it. That's why I'm willing to be here to collaborate with, no ordinary life. Not because they have to pay me. No, I don't have to be paid, but because I feel like what they are doing is what youth need. So let's collaborate without expecting anything in return.
Where's
it's okay. I won't add anything. That's enough.
Our next question is on the chat. Let's just see what they have. They say, what advice would you give to the prospective candidates in their job search?
I feel like this has been responded to. Yeah.
From the audience, do we have any questions? I'll take 3. Let me start with the lady, and then I'll go to. Oh, sorry.
Okay, you know how in different fields people are told that even if you study, let's say something like business administration and the likes, you're able to venture into something like HR or something like that. But now if you study something that's a bit different, and given our economy and what most people have done here, it's hard for you to break into like the job world. So what do you do about that? Or how do you let your future or prospective employers know that you're teachable to learn other things and then, venture into those things as well, despite what you learned that may be very different to what is normally acceptable?
All of them, yeah.
My question is, in the recruitment process, does it matter where you went to school? Because you may think that I am not getting selected for jobs because of where I went to school, where I graduated from. So does it really matter where you went to school?
Maybe let's just take one and then we'll continue with the 2 after this.
All right. My question is, let's say you're being called for interviews, and then let's say this is an aptitude test. So what I want to ask, what do they really want from the aptitude test? Because they flow a lot of questions, let's say logic, reasoning, and then maybe part of it technical, but what exactly are they looking for when you go for aptitude test?
Thank you very much. We'll continue with the questions. Just hold on for that. Let's hear from our panelists. Okay.
Question here. So what is the best way to navigate a career change? What is the best way to navigate a career change?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the first question, you pursued business administration, then you venture into HR or something else. Let me tell you this, that the current country head of HR for Ilovo did economics. I also know one head director of HR who did engineering. So when you go into the job market or into an organization, you forget about what you learn at school and learn the job. In fact, I remember Professor Muhango, the late, I think he was a former vice chancellor from Mzuzu University, said a degree is a mind opener. First degree is a mind opener. Masters, you master something. So when you do a degree, it will open your mind. It's not that because you've done that's economic, it's quite agriculture economics, then you end up doing agriculture economics. No. or you've done statistics, then you end up being a statistician. No, you can do anything that you are able to do with your skills. I think I'll ask my colleagues to come in on the participation.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I think it goes back again to, what are you willing to do? If you have done a different field, can you do internships? You can have let's say I have my current job, but over the weekend, I'm passionate about, graphic or videography, photography. I need to make time for that. I can learn. And then when an opportunity comes, I can always say, all right, despite this is my career. That's why I mentioned about honesty. Because if you use that tool that I mentioned, because there could be different action verbs. So if you pick 5, and out of those 5, you cannot be strong in all of those, put them according to hierarchy, which is the highest that you're strong at, and then go down. So that when you come to an interview, you can always say, I am not good at graphic. I'm not a videographer, but I've done these skills in videography. Because, for example, you can give an example. If there's a famous wedding that you shot the video, you can always say it. Remember so-so's wedding? I'm the one who did it. So they'll be like, oh, you're a team leader, but you can do this. So that means you are someone who is agile, like I mentioned, someone who is advancing in their career. So make sure you're advancing in your career. Don't stick to what you have. Over to you, Wezi.
All right, thank you. So I'll just add a few more points on what my colleagues have said. Now, one of the things that maybe we haven't talked about a lot here is the cover letter. So if you are trying to switch a career or make a change, this has to be highlighted on the cover letter. And you have to be honest, as Innocent has said, to say, these are the reasons why I would like to change my career and I would like to try this new field that I'm applying in. So you just have to ensure that you indicate it. The next point that I'll say is you may want to consider joining a startup or small organizations. Why would you want to do this? Is because these small organizations, mainly, they can be able to bring you in and say, okay, we'll take you on a voluntary basis or internship basis, but you'll be doing something that you did not do in school. So these ones is much easier compared to big corporate organizations because most of them, they employ based on your education. So you can be able to check with startups and be able to see, okay, what can I be able to do here that is different from what I did? Thank you.
Chisomo is on mute, sorry.
Yeah, you can hear them.
You're muted, Chisomo.
Papantu's University, but do you have that positive attitude? Do you have those skills? Are you able? To work with other members of the staff? So they look at all those skills and not the school where you got your degree. Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to add quickly to say, sometimes it's because we make the mistakes. Maybe they ask you to put your school, but you just mentioned the school and the degree. Maybe they're asking other things that they need to know about the school. So just understand what they're looking for. So I think that's it. Maybe he's in the HR, as I said, but yeah, let's just avoid simple mistakes. On the question number 2.
Where's
I'm sure we're answering does your school matter? Yes. Is that the question? Because you went on mute.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So one thing that I'll say is the industry sometimes is different. It doesn't favor where you did your school. We all know people that have gone to they're labeled best schools, but and others are not. Others did not go to those schools, but they're in big positions. So what you have to do is you have to show them that you're reliable as an individual. It's not really about the school that you went. So we can't run away from the bias that people have, be it in Malawi or anywhere else. The bias is there that, oh, this school is better than this school. That is there, but then when you get into the industry, it's more of like you as an individual prove to us why we should take you, aside from the other person who went to this school. Thank you.
Question number 2 on the aptitude test. Sorry, I just wanted to add on that one. I think it's about value. What are you bringing to the table? If you are an asset, people will use you. If you are a liability, people will throw you away. So learn how to create value for yourself. Like, we want someone who does photography. The first person I'm going to call is Daniel, because I know him. He has value. I'm not even going to ask what papers, where he's done it before. I've seen his work, so I know it. Whoever prints my t-shirts, I know who he is. Whoever is good at public speaking, I know who she is. So try and create value and show it, show it. People should see that you have value wherever you go. Yeah, that's all I wanted just to add in. Next question.
So I think on the aptitude test, I'll not say much, but it depends on the questions that they're putting. Sometimes they tell you they're looking for technical skills. So make sure, again, it goes back to how do you understand the job description? So if you understand the job description, meaning that whatever they're putting on the aptitude test is directly attached to that. So how can you align yourself to what they want in the aptitude test, whether it's technical skills, soft skills, whatever skill they need, whatever attitude they need. So yeah, but I wouldn't say much on that. Yeah.
Okay, so for aptitude tests, what employers are looking for are the skills that we've been saying here. For instance, they're looking for critical thinking skills, decision-making skills, attitude. Are you cultural fit? And can you multitask? So these are the aptitude test is there to test these things. For instance, there are some organizations, when you submit your application, immediately after submitting an application, they will send you a link to do a cognitive test. Then that test will give the employer the results and analyze you. You think that are simple things, just how do others look at you? Hard worker, so and so. And how do you look at yourself? You answer within 5 minutes, you have done that. But it tells the employer or recruiter a lot about you. Were you following patterns? Or you were just answering, looking for familiar words? So it tells the recruiter more about you. That's why aptitude tests are there. And aptitude tests are also used as a way of shortlisting candidates. That you have got 1,000 applicants. Now you want to shortlist 4 to come for oral interview. So they will give you the aptitude test and get the first 4 candidates. Thank you. Where's?
Yeah, so I'll just add on what my colleagues have said. Aptitude tests are somehow funny. They ask you about, does this box look the same as this box? There's somehow some funny questions, but what they're trying to do is really just to understand the cognitive reasoning as well as your psychology. Because whenever you answer those questions, they're able to generate it in their systems, and they can be able to tell, okay, this person either is an introvert or this person is ABCD. So they're able to track who you are as a person. So they're able to know whether you have the right practical skills and how you reason yourself as an individual and your behaviors, where they lean, as well as the critical solving skills. So it's pretty much just to understand your psychology in a way. Sure.
I think Wes responded to the first, the last questions. Best way to navigate career change. I'm one of the person that has changed the careers over the past 10 years. I started with teaching. I switched to banking. From banking, I was a loan officer, switched to change management, from change management to learning and development, that's training, from learning and development to HR. So when you want to switch career, let's say as a teacher, I started pursuing accounting, then entered into bank. Then within the bank, I developed an interest into adult learning, that's training. Then I started attaching myself to those people that were responsible for training section. When I went to another company, now as learning and development coordinator, I developed a passion towards human resources. So what did I do? I approached my site director. Please, I want you to be assigning some tasks, HR mainstream tasks to me, because I've got interest in this profession. So they started within a year, developed interest, and went for a weekend bachelor's degree just to cement what my managers training me. So it was easy. And here I am as an HR, but I've switched careers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our panelists. We'll continue with the questions, but maybe you can stretch a little bit if you feel like, you know, I've been seated and I need to stretch a little bit, you can do that. So the first question I will take is coming from online, Wezi Munkhondya. Wezi says, during interviews, when giving examples, does it always have to be professional related, or you can share some personal experiences? That's the first question. And then there was,
I wanted to find out the key components of a cover letter. What's supposed to be included in the cover letter? Are we supposed to just copy and paste whatever they're asking for, or how do we structure it?
There was another hand at the back. Maybe I have forgotten. Any more questions? Anybody? Okay.
So sometimes it happens that you apply for something and you know that you're qualified for it. You've actually done your internship or whatever, but then they leave you. They don't even like consider you. What happens? Exactly.
Thank you so much. To the panelists now.
Let me start with the one that Wezi asked.
When you starting?
Yeah. So Wezi has asked to say you are in an interview and they have asked you questions. Do you use only professional examples, or you can use your personal? So the bias should be towards the professional examples, but if you have some few personal examples that display whatever they're asking you, then you can also bring it in. I think there's the STAR technique. I don't know if someone said it, but this one is very useful in interviews. So the STAR, the S stands for the situation, and the T stands for the task, the A stands for the action, and R stands for the results. So I do this to myself. Whenever I'm going for an interview, I have 3 scenarios in my mind in which I've done this STAR technique to say, if they ask me to say, give us a scenario in which you showed your leadership skills. So what I do is I go back to my STAR technique and say, okay, the situation was this, and this was the task that I did, and these were the actions that I took, and finally, these were the results. So what I would simply say is, when you are going, have 2 or 3 scenarios. It could be 2 from your professional side of work and 2 from just your other side of life. For example, you can use your church as an example to say, oh, I'm a leader, I'm a youth group leader, and I lead our team, a team of 20 youth in our church. I do ABCD. So that still shows that you're a leader, regardless of whether you're doing it at church or you're doing it at work. So you can use both professional and the other side of life. Thank you.
Okay, I think that question, Wezi has said it all. No addition from us. On the cover letter.
I think on the cover letter, yeah, that's the biggest or the toughest one, because like I said already, you have to understand the job description. Make sure that you have to tailor your cover letter as well to what the job is about. So remember, I talked about the funnel where it's about where you have your hard skills, you can put them up there, but also now you go down to the things that can make you stand out as well, looking at your competencies and the experiences, and then again go back to the action verbs. What are the key action verbs that they're looking for? And then you also go back. I think most of us, we always focus on the latter part or the former part of the job description, but we seem to just forgo the competencies that they put at the end. So can we put out that as well? And then also, can you demonstrate that you can do the job, the duties and responsibilities? Again, what key action verbs are you going to focus on, which will demonstrate that you are a person who is fit for that job and is someone who can do it because they have done it. And then you have, but it has to be brief so that, because nobody has the time to read 2 pages. So how can you put it in short and brief format so that you express yourself? Because they're also looking at your communication skills there.
Okay, so in fact, you don't repeat what is in your CV when you are writing a cover letter. You tell a story about yourself by looking at what Innocent has said. You look at the competences and how you qualify. That's why others, they ask you to write a motivation letter. Then people ask, what is a motivation letter? No, it's as good as a cover letter, but you are trying to tell the employer or recruiter that you can do the job. Not that I'm a lady, I'm a young boy, aged 35, not, those are not necessary, guys. In fact, why should we be indicating age? No, unless they've asked you to indicate it, but then it will be discrimination based on age. Yeah, so on the last question, I think the question in simple terms is, why are we left out? Yet they say 3 years experience. They should have done internship at so and so. Then I've got, I was qualified. In fact, that's what we are saying. Now, I've got a task to do in the next 2 days. We are looking for an administration officer. We have got 512 applications, but we just need 4 people to come for interviews. We'll do a elimination method, of course. We'll find maybe 10 or 20 people to the degree we are looking for, same years of experience. Now we look at the actual jobs that they were doing in their CV, tasks that they have indicated, the actual responsibilities. Because it's not about being qualified because of the number of years you've been working or qualification, no. But what were you doing? Telling with the requirements of the recruiter. So it's not always that you are qualified, but there are also others that are more qualified than you. And it's not that you've failed. No. You've not failed, but others are lucky. And yours is coming. So you keep on applying, as I think Wezi said, don't persistent in applications. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to add one thing on the letter, cover letter.
Wait, just
can you hear me? I wanted to add on the cover letter. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so the cover letter can have like some of these sections. I mean, you can be able to work around it, but then these are some of the sections that you may want to add. So as we all know, we have the address, the dates, the recipient, and the subject. Now, you can have the greeting, not like greeting, but you are somehow just introducing yourself, and not as I'm a lady or I'm a guy, but you're just trying to say, for instance, you can simply say, oh, having seen recently the position that was advertised, I would like to apply for such an position and everything. Then after the greeting, it comes together with the opening. Then you come in with the letter body or the body of the letter. This one, you're simply trying to sell yourself. You're simply trying to sell yourself and tell them, you know what, you have to hire me instead of the other people. Because let's be honest, job search or whatever we're talking about here, it's more of like a battlefield where it's competitive, very competitive. So it's more of like you're selling yourself and telling them why they should hire you, not the other person. If you have any job gaps in your CV, this is a better place to explain it. You can say, for a year or two, I left the job industry. I went back to school to do my master's and everything. That simplifies, because sometimes when HR people see your CV and then they see that you haven't worked for 2 years, they have a lot of assumptions. So you have to explain this in the cover letter. And then finally, you have to come in with a call to action in which you're simply telling them, this is what I'll bring to your organization if you hire me or if you call me for interviews. Thank you.
Let's give it up for our panelists. Thank you so much, Wezi, Innocent, but also Chisomo. This has been really a very good time, but I just want also to encourage you that you should actually support us more, because NOL is a self-funded organization, is a social enterprise. It does income-generating activities such as selling t-shirts. The t-shirts you see there, we are actually supporting NOL. And so if you would like to have an event like this in the future, then support us. Tell other people about it, okay? So that's what I wanted to say about NOL. At this point in time, I would like to call Maximo. Thank you.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Do you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Show your face, because people don't know who you are.
Maybe a little bit louder, maybe.
I think you should show your face, because I don't think everybody sees you, but they want to see you again one more time.
You're not loud enough. We can hear, but you're not loud enough.
Show yourself, because I don't think people have seen you.
You're not loud enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. We'll switch back then. Yeah.
No, it's okay now. If you talk like this, it's okay.
Yeah, I know why. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming through. Consider this our first in-person NOL event globally. It's not just first happened here, but first happened everywhere. Claudia is from Ghana originally, but she lives in the UK. Claudia started NOL a couple of years back. Because of these same questions, like what am I going to do next? How do I
advance in life. So it was her initiative as the founder, and she took it upon herself, and she started No Ordinary Life on her own. So from I hope I'm saying correctly, from 2017 to today, most of our events have been online, virtual. They've been virtual for many reasons. Number one, if you want to start something, you just start. You don't say, I want to wait for you say or someone like that to come and save me, you just start. You know, you fail forward. So that's what I wanted to say. Like, don't be afraid to fail, because for us to get to this point, she wasn't afraid. I think she should take a lead from everything that she's done on her part. On my side, I just want to thank everybody for coming. You should be prepared that we're going to have more events like this in the future. Me and Claudia, we've only ever met online. We've never met in person. Even though I was in the UK at some point, but we never ever met. But here we are, we're able to network, we're able to work together, we're able to deliver these sessions. I hope they've been informative. I hope they're informative. Support us on our social networks. I think we'll have them up here. Support us through everything that we're doing. We're a small organization. It's a team of maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 people. All of us are volunteers. The speakers that you have in front of you have volunteered to come. The camera person has volunteered. I have volunteered. My role is I'm a program manager for No Ordinary Life Malawi. The idea is that we'll have No Ordinary Life in almost each and every country in Africa. Because our target market is us, the Africans, but by extension, men of all races, all genders. We want to cross-cut and break through. And breaking through in the sense that we want to give people the best, what can you say, service in terms of helping you find your passion, helping you find your way. We're going to hold hands. We're going to continue to plan work with each other. So stay with us. Let's talk. Let's network. You never know. We could be in a university near you one day. It could be in somewhere near you. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say as a whole of thanks. On your screen, on our screen, you're going to see the next step. So we have several events that we are planning on doing. So definitely we have a CV writing probably workshop that we are thinking of planning, so stay tuned for that. Probably as well an interview workshop. One thing I learned, I think we were talking about different universities, we have to be from this university or something. Okay. I was at the GMI University in the beginning, yeah, when it just started. We have this stigma here in Malawi about private universities, public universities, private universities, yeah. But even for me, with my GMI degree, I was able to obtain a partial scholarship and go and study with my master's degree at Nottingham University. So as I sit here, I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I have a master's degree in international development. We're talking about career switches, yeah? This was one of those things. Yeah, you get into the job field, you start working, you realize that, actually, I think I'm better at this. So what I've realized in my professional life for almost 10 years now, probably 8, is that you don't be afraid to use your soft skills. You never know what it will take you. I think your soft skills are more important than your hard skills. Your hard skills act as the foundation, but your soft skills will take you where you want to go. So those are the things. And for this session specifically, at Nottingham Trent, for instance, now we're going to talk about the difference in university. I've never heard of a university here in Malawi that has a specific employability department. But in the UK, they have an employability department. What we're doing is part of the tuition that you pay. They have a department, you go there, I'm trying to apply for a job, this is the job, they look at your CV, they give you advice. But here, you don't have that. So what we are trying to do is fill those little gaps, yeah, to give you that value addition. It's not that we're creating something new, even though it is new, but there's a lot more than just going into the classroom, submitting an assignment. I think that's the most important thing. So that aside, we also have a feedback form. So see there's a QR code here to our link tree. Please, if you can, scan the QR code or just try and copy the link. If you want them, we can share them. We can keep this on the screen even after we finish. So we have two forms. We have an evaluation form to evaluate how the session went today. This is you work on your own. Helps us to kind of like get better. Like I said, this is our first event, so probably as we go on further, we might, we want to also up our game a bit. And then lastly, we also have another form called I think it's like an information form. Basically, we want you to like say what you feel, like what do you feel like you need help with? But that will help us in our programming, which means that our future events will be more attuned to what people really want. People want to learn about CV, people want to learn about careers. What is it that people actually want? So our goal is to serve the youth and your passion. I think that's where I'll stop today. And thank you. Claudia, I don't think you have anything to say.
Yes, thank you very much, Maximo. I think you've said it all. I would like to extend a huge thank you to, first of all, our guest panelists for today, for being so keen to take part in this. It's all on a voluntary basis. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your experience. It's so appreciated. And I'm sure that everyone's benefited from what they've learned today. I've been here just nodding my head and taking notes. And I wish that we had more of this. So with your support, we'll be able to have more of these events because it's so relevant. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out as a graduate or you're a professional. There's always so much to be learned regarding how to be more employable. So I'm not going to add to it. I just also want to thank the team as well. Maximo as our programs manager for putting this all together, running things on the back end. Amos, our intern as well, who's been doing the running around when Maximo is so busy. Jessie, who came in and has been so excited to just help with everything, registration. Funny for stepping in last minute as the MC, so appreciated. They're all volunteers with us. Fanny is one of our volunteer communications assistant, and she works with as a head of programs for Radio ABC. So she's a very busy person, but she's been so welcoming and just wanting to help anyhow. And she messaged me first to say, how can I help? So thank you so much, Fanny, for stepping in last minute. And Daniel as well, the media guru, and everyone who's basically made this happen. Thank you so much, our team on the ground. And for yourselves as well, online and in person, for making the time and efforts to join. I know it's not easy taking away your Saturday and resting time to join an event, but I'm hoping that you've learned a lot from our session today, and you will be able to support us as much as you can. So not much to say. I also like to say a huge thank you to my family as well, for financial support to this event. I know people who donated to help this happen, to make this happen. So thank you to my family. And yes, thank you everyone. Final words, I suppose I'll say, you saw our upcoming events, so please do endeavor to join. The links will be on this link tree as you see on the screen. So if you, let me scroll down. If you scroll down on the link tree, you will see to register for our future events. So the link will be updated very shortly, and you'll be able to register for the next event when we've decided on the date. But if you registered and you've decided to receive our newsletters, we put all the information in there, so we'll keep you up to date on that. Apart from that, thank you so much. Enjoy yourselves, eat, drink, and network. And also, before I go, The t-shirts are on sale for 16,000. Today, because it's our very first event, we're giving it as two for 30,000. Yeah, two t-shirts for 30,000. So do patronize, and hopefully your contribution will go a very long way to help put up the next in-person or hybrid event. Very soon we'll be having the hoodies as well. I know it's very, very hot today in Malawi. I'm in the UK and it's winter, so I've got my hoodie. So that says No Ordinary Woman. So I've got my hoodie that's going to be available hopefully soon if we have more financial support, so that you can also rock your No Ordinary Man, No Ordinary Guy, so on and so forth. So I'll leave that there for now. A huge thank you to everyone. And if I've forgotten anything, it will be sent in an email. So please do fill out the development priorities form to help us know what your concerns are in Malawi in general, and fill out the events feedback form as well to help us also know what we did well, what we could do better.